chatting with you or am I chatting with David?
Chat with me, and then I'll talk you around the different games we've got, and I'll go over and talk about, say we've got, this is the expansion, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'll say we've got new automobiles expansion coming out, and David Short is our designer, he's going to tell you a bit about that.
Fantastic.
So I'll kind of hand you over to David.
Perfect, and we are live streaming this entire thing. So.
Yeah, we're live streaming, so there's no mistake, there's no
Yeah, welcome to our lives, guys. There's no edit button.
No, I was on TV, I did a thing on TV once. And,
okay, so you've done it, you know what you're doing. Okay, so did my husband explain a little bit about what we do?
A little bit.
Okay, so have you heard of Twitch before?
Yes.
Okay, so we are not employed by Twitch, but we are Twitch streamers.
Right.
We try to focus our stream around allowing chat to play our games with us. Yeah. So they roll dice, make decisions, they work together to play as a player. And so we're trying to do something similar with BGG.CON because there's so many of our viewers who weren't able to get here. Right. We wanted to give them the full experience. So can you tell us a little about you and your company?
The company is Alderac Entertainment Group.
Okay.
We make a whole range of games. We like to say we make fun.
Okay.
We have games that are short, quick, fast games that will maybe take you just a few minutes to sort of longer, more in-depth strategy games. We love card games. We love dice games. We've got bag building games, which I'll talk about in a little while, which is an interesting concept. So I can sort of walk you around the booth and tell you about a number of the games that we're working with.
I think we have a question really quick.
You popped on screen and chat wants to know so much. One, we have a couple of viewers from Scotland.
From Scotland.
They want to know how you felt, how you enjoyed living in Scotland.
Scotland is awesome. Scotland's I still think it's the best country in the world, even though I'm now in Canada.
The best part of Scotland is your national animal.
Our national animal, the unicorn. You see, I knew that. And kilts. Unicorns and kilts. Who's asking? Is that somebody I know from Scotland?
We actually have a couple viewers in Scotland, so they're probably
Whereabouts in Scotland are they?
There's a little bit of a chat delay.
Yeah, there's about 30 seconds.
Okay, we can come back to that.
So
I stayed in Fife. I stayed in Fife in Scotland, so that was where I used to live. So I'm just curious where they're from. But I'm now in British Columbia in Canada. So
how do you like Canada?
Canada's awesome as well. It's great. Scotland and Canada, two fabulous countries.
So how did you get involved with Alderac?
I got involved with Alderac because I played one of their collectible card games back in the day, and they invited me as a volunteer to work and help them design it. And so I did that voluntarily for a few years, and then I decided to leave my other job in Scotland and start working on game design full time.
And that's when you moved to Canada?
I moved to Canada a few years after that when I decided that an 8-hour time difference wasn't as good as...
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a lot of fun.
Right? So, yeah.
Is there anything else from chat?
They caught that you mentioned an expansion for automobiles, and they're very excited about that.
Okay. All right. So we can go start talking about the games?
I can hand you over to David now, and he can tell you a little bit.
Well, if he's in the middle of something, I mean, we can come back to it.
I'm ready to go.
Okay, awesome.
So David is the designer of automobiles, and he'll just tell you a little bit about the expansion that's just coming out.
Before we move the camera, can I just get their permission that they... We can stay here? This is fine? Okay. Awesome. So, hi, David.
Hi.
Nice to officially meet you. I'm Nicole.
Hi, Nicole. I'm David. So this is the base game, Automobiles, and I'm demoing the new expansion that's coming out early next year. It adds a bunch of new cards, 3 new racing tracks, and drivers, which are individual player powers. And we're really excited about it.
Awesome. Can you tell us
more
what?
About,
yeah, please.
Yes. So I got that.
Thank you. Well,
If it's not the camera, it's the booth.
there we go. Thank you.
So it adds individual player drivers, and so each player would draft a driver at the beginning of the game.
Okay.
And so then you would have your own personal. Sure. You'd have your own personal driver, and it gives you a powerful action that you can use throughout the game. And so that's one of the things. And then of course there's brand new cards. So there's 3 new cards for each type, and so that ups your variety for every game. And then there are 3 new tracks. They're playing on one of them right now. I don't know if you can pan that way or not.
It's Monte Carlo, right?
This is Monte Carlo, yep. And on the back of this is another smaller 2-player map, and then the map unfolds, and it's a giant Talladega racetrack.
Awesome.
And so, and each of zone of those is shown. You can show these if you want.
So I can maybe just add a little bit for those of people who don't know about automobiles. I talk about it being a bag building game. So what you do is you purchase these cubes. You see the color cubes on the table, and they go into the bag. And then you draw a certain number from the bag, and each cube does a different thing in the game, which is relating to the cards that David was talking about. So for those people who've not seen automobiles, it's a bit like a deck builder, except you're not building it with cards, you're building it with these cubes, and then the cubes actually sort of go onto the racetrack to show what you're doing on the racetrack.
Fantastic.
Basically, you're customizing your race car as you race. And the first person across the finish line wins.
Awesome. And how long does a game generally take?
About 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay. And how many does it support?
2 to 5 players.
And what is the retail price for it?
Mark can answer that.
I don't know.
I would say, John, what's the retail price for automobiles?
Destination Fun?
No, the base game.
Well, the base game is 50.
Oh, the base game. Sorry, I thought you were talking about the expansion.
Oh, the expansion. It's not out. Is it out yet?
No, it's be coming out the first quarter of next year.
Okay. And are you using Kickstarter for that, or?
We are not.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't know you were asking about the base game. I thought
No,
you were asking about the expansion,
I'm interested in all of it. So.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to move on to the next game?
Sure.
Or?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
They're all very excited for the expansion, and they absolutely love the game.
Oh, fantastic.
Good job. Okay, so we've recently brought out Dice City by Royal Decree, which is the third expansion for Dice City.
Okay.
Dice City is a game where you have a grid and you roll the dice, and effectively the grid becomes a representation of the face on the dice. So you have the red die 1 to 6 and the blue die 1 to 6, and you build locations on each of those spots on the grid, and you are trying to basically build a city that will become the new capital. You have a sort of military path to victory, an economic path to victory, and a cultural path to victory. The latest expansion by Royal Decree adds in a couple of new aspects to the game. The Queen now has some particular plans for the city, and so you get benefits for building certain patterns or building your city in particular ways. It introduces a sort of trade city that everybody can trade and do business with, and it introduces a new concept about the order in which you use your dice. So that's just come out, and that's the third expansion for Dice City, and that really, I think, that really kind of completes and fleshes out the whole game in a way that adds a whole new series of strategies to it. So I'm really excited about that.
Awesome.
Dice City's been a great game for us. I can tell you a little bit of Fantasy. Fantasy is a game that was fairly recently released.
So she can show.
It's got really cool artwork as well. So Fantasy is a game where you're building a party of heroes trying to fight off and defend the city against invading hordes of monsters. As the name suggests, it's based on that sort of Yahtzee type mechanic where you're roll and keep the dice and you're trying to get certain combinations.
Okay.
So the numbers, the things you can see at the bottom of those hero cards are the dice scores that you need to get in order to activate those heroes.
Okay.
Some of them you just need 3 of a kind, any number. Others you need specific numbers. And there are 3 groups of heroes. There's warriors, mages, and artificers, and they each kind of do a slightly different thing in the game. So warriors band together and work well. Mages give you extra dice and extra rolls. The artificers use steam to activate these sort of golem type creatures. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get good combinations of heroes, but they will sort of constantly suffer from attrition from the monsters. These are the monsters here. I don't know whether you can see that. Am I holding that in the right place? Okay. So to defeat monsters, you have to have a sort of strength value that's higher than the value of the monster, and the monsters you defeat give you victory points or experience points, I should say. And the person at the end of the game with the most experience points wins the game.
Great. And how long does a typical game take?
I would say about 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
I mean, once you get to know the game, maybe even quicker. But certainly with a reasonable amount of
solid
experience,
game, but not too extensive.
So it's one of those games that's quick and fast and light and fun. But as you get to play it more and more, you realise there's a bit more depth to it than you thought, right?
That's really cool. Those are the best kind of games, in my opinion.
So let me tell you what else we've got. We have a new expansion out for Mystic Vale, our card crafting game. I'm assuming most people will be familiar with Mystic Vale. But Mystic Vale is the game we've actually got a prototype out over there. I don't know, can we walk over there?
Oh, yeah, of
Just
course.
in case anybody doesn't know about Mystic Vale? Walking that
Yeah,
direction?
yeah, absolutely. Hi. Brandon's off camera. Let me walk in front because of the cord.
Okay.
This is Mystic Vale over here. I'd asked for his permission, but he's already been on camera, so.
Do you want to ask Captain if he feels awkward with being on camera?
I mean, Captain was on camera the other week, so.
Okay. So Mystic Vale is what we call a card crafting game. You start with a deck of 20 cards, and you have these clear advancements. And what you're doing is you're building cards that have more and more combinations and options on them. So you actually, rather than with a deck builder where you would add cards to your deck, you start and finish with the same number of cards, but you actually change what the cards do and put the combinations together.
That's interesting.
So that's Mystic Vale. I'm not obviously we're going through a lot of games, so I don't know the rules, but this is the latest expansion, which came out recently in October. Adds a lot more combination, a lot more variety to the game. So it kind of, I think I used the phrase somewhere else. It's more combolicious, right? It increases the options and expands all the different things you can do.
And how much does that retail for?
The expansion retails for, is it $30?
$29.99.
Oh, $29.99, 30, yeah.
Okay, 30.
I was close enough for 30. So
and it's available for sale right now?
That is available. That came out in October.
Okay.
Let me show you another one that's just released over here. If we can walk this way.
Of course.
Okay. Love Letter Premium.
Ooh, Love Letter.
Yeah, so this is a new version of Love Letter. Comes in this really nice box, which I'm now going to fail to open miserably. Oh, there we go, look. With the velvet interior and the wonderful card sleeves and the enlarged cards. It also is a version of Love Letter that you can play with up to 8 people.
Oh, that's interesting.
So we've got a whole bunch of new cards.
Do you mind if I just show it up to the camera?
Yeah, there you go.
And?
Just some,
there you go.
Just some new examples for you to look at. There is a whole bunch of new cards in there. So I mean, you can still play this game with 4 players, but it does allow you to play with 5, 6, 7, or even 8, right?
Awesome.
So it really expands what you can do with your group if you love Love Letter, and brings a new sort of dimension to the experience.
I really do love the new artwork. That's
it's awesome. You get these nice little heart-shaped tokens of affection.
Do you want me to show it?
No, not at all.
Thank you. Can you see the heart? Awesome. And is there anything else you want to mention?
We've got the game you can see over here, which is just being explained, which is Yeti.
Okay.
I think an ideal release for around the Christmas time. Basically, you're trying to wade through the snow and discover, hunt down the Yeti and where the Yeti is.
Run.
It's basically a dice rolling game, but it's got a 3-dimension element where you actually go up the side of the mountain.
Okay.
As you can see here from the graphic on the back, you actually build the mountain.
So it looks very family friendly.
Yeah, very family friendly.
How many does it support?
Friendly. It is for 2 to 5 players.
Perfect.
20 to 40 minutes playing time.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay.
And is there anything else you'd like to tell our viewers before we?
If you're doing anything, we've actually got a giant one set up out in the hall.
Oh,
so
really?
Yeah,
we're going to check that out. We're absolutely going to check that out.
Go out and get somebody to teach you to play out there. Obviously we've got a whole bunch of games. This is worth mentioning, as you can see up on the screen here. Our friends and colleagues in Nomad have been working on this Smash Up app.
That's cool.
So you can now play Smash Up. You will be able to play Smash Up on your various devices.
Interesting. Okay.
And obviously you can see there we've got the Smash Up standing underneath with all of our various releases.
And is there anything from chat? Would you mind taking a quick picture with me before we wrap this up?
No, that's fine.
Awesome. Thank you.
What you want, camera? Want to make sure that I get the whole banner in the back.
At the base camp, I don't have to have any tents. But since I have one tent, I'm all the way down lower. So if you want to stay high, you've got to have the tent. To get high, you have to sure.
Thank you very much for your time. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you, Mark.
Nice to meet you, Joshua.
Thank you very much, Mark.